So I definitely see where you're going with this. There's a Taoist saying, the scholar learns something new every day, while the Taoist unlearns something new every day. And, I like that idea. But I just made a comment on your video that I think there's a big difference between learning something and memorizing new information, memorizing facts. In school, most of the time, we're not taught, we don't learn, we memorize facts. Learning involves knowing how to manipulate concepts and arrive at our own conclusions. Learning involves knowing how to think for ourselves, not knowing what to think, not knowing the dates, not knowing the formulas, knowing how to derive the formulas, knowing the meaning of history rather than the dates. So I'm not against learning. I mean, I don't think anyone can be against learning. And learning doesn't mean just increasing your knowledge base. Learning means, you learn about yourself by being out of the system, as you put it, and trying to deal with your life issues. But the system, I mean, by that I guess you mean the universities, the books, the ideas. But, culture itself is not just this system that people try to impose on you. You are culture. You understand yourself, whatever you think you understand about your own life, in terms of your culture. Otherwise you have no way of thinking about yourself. You're not an island. You are a part of this community. So there is an aspect of the system that wants to force you to conform and to think in this way and to know these facts and so forth. But part of that system is also part of you, and there's nothing you can do to rip it out of you. That system is how you understand yourself. It's how you communicate with others. So, I know where you're coming from, and I agree somewhat, but I'm just trying to qualify your stance a little bit just to make sure that you're not really saying we shouldn't learn. Learning just means, coming to understand and be able to act appropriately in more and more situations in life. And I really am a big proponent of this idea that knowledge and action are not separate. You know something when you know how to deal with it. When you're confronted with this problem, if you have the knowledge to solve the problem, that's knowledge. Knowledge isn't just theory. Theory is useless if it can't be applied to any concrete activity in the world. And if you have all the theory in the world and yet you don't understand anything about, specific situations, you don't know how to deal with people, you don't know how to set up an experiment, you don't know how to collect data, you don't know anything. Your knowledge is useless. So knowledge that can't be applied to your activity in the world is useless. So maybe that's what you're trying to get at. But I really like to learn practical knowledge. And you can say, well, philosophy is totally impractical and has no use in the world. But, I disagree, because part of acting in the world is communicating with others. And part of communicating with others is knowing the deep meanings of the words that you're using. And that's what philosophy does, for me at least. And it sometimes helps to clear up certain situations. Other times it complexifies them. But, when we're looking for truth, even if it's only, truth in quotes, a general sense of more truthful than less truthful, at least, we have to examine things, and we have to learn how to examine things. And so yeah, let me know if you disagree with what I'm saying, because I think I'm agreeing with you at least halfway. But yeah, I'll wait to see what you think about this. So thanks for listening.